Mortal Kombat.
Yeah. Get over here. I'm gonna take it off in a second. I just want to start it with it. That'll be funny. I'm gonna be like, shoot. It's on. Oh. What's going on, Super Truckers? Thanks for tuning into the Super Trucker Podcast. As always, we are staying safe from the Chinese virus, a.k.a. COVID-19, a.k.a. also coronavirus. We hope you're doing well, safe, and clean. And today,
what is going on?
we have abundance of things to talk about.
Yes. And please know, Mike is not sick here, man. It's just his breath. We had to protect ourselves in this room.
Oh, man, this is going to be a problem. I can't be safe anymore. Sorry. Got to get my drink.
All right. So we got a few things to talk about this week. As mentioned last week, a little bit of a follow-up. We're checking on the progress of the recovered trailer, which involved the power-only loads. So, Mike, what you got? Where we at with that, man?
Last week, we started on a Wednesday, actually, is what happened. That's kind of how we were talking about it on the Thursday podcast. We sent the guy out. We did a loadout trailer, so we picked up $150 for the loadout trailer. We needed to deliver that loadout trailer in the Chicago area, which happened to be where we was picking up the recovered trailer. So, worked out perfect. Got $11.50 from Homerville, Georgia. Again, last week the rates weren't as good as they are this week, which we'll get to that in a little bit. So we went from Homerville, Georgia, up to Illinois, and we got $11.50 for 1,000 miles, plus the $150 for the loadout trailer. From there, we just wanted to take it easy because we do try to get our. He's 6 feet apart.
The studio is too small.
It's got to go back on, right? So just couldn't get through. So we picked up 750 miles out of Illinois to Delaware. And that load was $1,750, which came out to $233 a mile for a total for the week of $3,050 starting out on a Wednesday, leaving Florida. Not bad week. You know what I mean? Now he's got a full weekend. He's working this week. Everything's fine. He has the back to the company trailer, and then he'll come down and pick up his trailer later on when he wants to swap it out. So that's the follow up with the loadout situation.
And there you go. And don't forget that wasn't a full week. That was on a midweek start. So
yeah, it came out forward on a Wednesday. We like I said, we still threw in a restart over the weekend, so we couldn't do crazy miles, but it worked out well. Also, guys, don't forget to be looking in the actual comments, the live comments on the side there. That's where the rates are going to be posted for this week, which leads us to our next topic.
Yes, rates. Are they better? Are they worse?
Where it's going?
Yeah, is the time to earn now? Is it hide under your bed and come out when the dust settles? What do you think? What's up?
Big Rick said that if your eyes aren't covered, it's not helping. So, I would say right now the rates are definitely up. I'm not going to say up everywhere, but a slight increase almost everywhere, and in some areas they are very nice. So. You can look at their current rates for this week are going to be getting posted in the comments. The guys that are out there working, hey, we were talking about this the other day. We think the truck is probably one of the safest places to be. It's a confined environment. It limits your exposure to people. I mean, as long as you're not shaking hands everywhere you go and stop and mingling with the crowds, you're doing all right. So, safety first.
Absolutely, and in general, truck is really a safe place. I remember, back in the day driving a truck. Every time you drive a truck, you're in that, fairly safe bubble, unless go around truck stops licking doorknobs. But
no doorknob licking.
Yeah, don't do that right now. But you can do it later, but not at the moment. I would not advise. But in general, you come back home, and then the kids, the wife, the people. And then you get sick.
Yeah. So, coming home could actually... Matt and Sarah say they're out hauling the restock right now. So, that's kind of the key. Everybody is buying everything up right now.
Yeah.
So, the manufacturers are still manufacturing. They're still pumping it out. So, Matt, Sarah, you guys got the right idea, staying out there and taking advantage of the situation while you can. And again, like Mike said, I know... You got to go home at some point, but sometimes going home, family, friends, right now, you're just exposing yourself to more people.
And also, don't forget, I think those rates, right now, we see a surge in the rates. However, most of the people are buying food, and it seems like all kinds of other, little crap from the stores, because apparently some of them will shut down. It seems more of that people are dumping credit cards. We really probably preparing for apocalypse. But in general, just the food alone is not enough freight to supply for a whole industry. There's
Right.
the whole construction sector, manufacturing, you name it. There is so much things that the trucks ship, and at some point, if it's not, if it's not going to change, it's
And if you're
gonna
going to
kind
haul
of
toilet
stop.
paper, make sure you get a really good lock.
Yeah, and police
That's a
escort.
high. That's a high
and escort,
commodity.
yeah. Be like, guys, I have toilet paper. I need a ride. Yeah, I did get promoted to medium Mike, so I appreciate that. I used to be little Mike. I didn't like that too much. Scott promoted me to medium Mike. You're still medium Christian. So,
Yeah, Scotty. Well, even though the rates are good, again, some people say, hey, you can make more money by accident in certain environments and this and that. But it's always important to understand the formula, stick to the formula, stick to the process. We always talk about that. We even have some examples. Guys, Mike, you want to share that with us? Something that's happening this current week?
So we've got a group of guys who run a very specific style. I'm not going to get into detail over it, but they came on board and they're like, hey, this is how we run. It's a little different than the normal that we do. And I don't necessarily, again, agree with it, like it, disagree with it. It's their thing. It's a deal that we make with them. They run that way. That's how they want to run. But in that group, we're seeing one kind of rise up a little bit saying, like, hey, it's my business. It's my way. It's basically my way or the highway. You like it, you don't like it, And for those individuals that partner with somebody, we talk about this over and over and over again. And I can't speak for other companies, so I don't know where they've been burned in the past and where they haven't been burned. But I took out of those 4 guys, I took that specific situation for this week right here, and I looked at the numbers for the guys that are trusting the process, even in this kind of odd way of running, versus the one who's like, hey, I know what I'm doing. Get the hell out the way. This is my show. Man, he's over $1,000 less, in some cases $1,500 less than the other 3 guys that are running, trusting the process. And that ego, we talk about that all the time. And you partner with us for a reason. If it's your company, your business, your way, then just go run your business. I mean, I don't understand that thought process. You needed me for what? A trailer? Is that it? I mean, or are those people that can see the expertise that's before them and say, hey, I want to participate in that. Look, I want to run a certain way, but I need your help to help me run that certain way.
Right. I mean, you have to align yourself with good people, right? That's what to be successful. And we always talk about that. So it's right here. Proof is in the pudding. And
yeah, literally 1,200, 1,500, and 1,550 less than guys that are doing same exact thing. Matter of fact, he trained those guys.
A lot of times I
guys.
think it is a stigma. It just the driver's opinion that the people in the office probably don't know what we're talking about. We've never been there. We don't see the way it is, and we just fall into.
No,
you're
almost verbatim exactly what's being said. Yes,
for so long.
Yeah.
That you cannot tell me how it's done.
Because some people can't get out of their own way to be successful.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because look, long time ago we did hire one guy. He came from JB Hunt.
Mm-hmm.
The older guy. So he's been with JB Hunt for like 25 years or something before he came to us. He came broke. Like the JB Hunt. Most of the time, the big companies like this, the customer is the shipper, receiver, the manufacturer, the factory. It's not the owner-operator. Owner-operator is the bottom feeder. So we treated him as nothing. He came on board all broke, without hardly any future left in that specific trucking situation, in his financial situation. And I can't even recall how many times he was telling, oh, you guys are doing this wrong, you're doing that wrong, because the JB Hunt, we did it that way, and the other way, JB Hunt knows it all.
But you're here for why?
Yeah.
Why are you here?
What's going on?
It works so well. Yeah, and again, that's just, guys, that's our own, hey, we all fall into that trap sometimes. That's pride. And that's just us getting, I know best, and fear. Sometimes fear of trying something new. So, again, almost verbatim what Mike said, and he doesn't know because he hasn't seen the text or heard the calls, but literally that's about exactly what the guy said. So it's that stigma that goes along with that. I know what I'm doing. You don't know what I need. You don't know what I want. You don't know how to run me. You let me run me, and if I need you, I'll let you know. Okay, fine. If that's how it works, fine. But the other three guys, $1,500 more in their pocket. Which one would you rather be? The guy who's trusting the process, or the guy that's,
Hey, stay out of my business.
I got you, bro.
And give me 15.
I'm out, man.
More.
Yeah, I'm out. So, but speaking of guys who like to book their own freight in this time, Christian, talk to me a little bit about some of the things, some of the woes, some of the wares, some of the things that are out there that can be detrimental to a guy who is, has his own authority, booking his own freight right now. Because sometimes everything that shine, everything that glitters isn't gold.
Yeah, it basically what you're going to start seeing out there is very good rates and who's putting it on the load board. Actually, this is probably more of Mike's expertise on that. Making sure you're doing your homework and due diligence on that, because you can easily align yourself with, let's say, a certain lane or something like that, and all of a sudden, they owe you a ton of money, and before you know it, out of business. And are you?
Well, Mike's going to be able to share some of the very passionate side of the story.
Well, that's all right. We'd rather have it passionate and real.
Mike's felt it before, so he's going to be like,
So out of business, and can you even collect now? So,
yeah.
I mean, what are some of the things, actually, Mike, this is honestly more in your arena?
Well, it's here's a couple of challenges. Right now, then the market is very specific. It's really very specific. Most of the stuff that we kind of probably going to be hauling pretty soon, if not yet, is the groceries.
Yeah.
And those groceries are going to go most of the time between very big places. Now, the challenge going to be when you will, in this type of market, when everybody potentially needs a truck to ship those groceries, the water, whatever, you may get in that little relationship with somebody, whoever gives you that, run. And sometimes we will offer you potentially a lot of money for the run. I would not put all my eggs in one basket, because it doesn't matter how big the shipper or the broker is. You need to be careful about the money. A couple of examples. For example, P&G, Tyson Foods, whatever, like the big boys.
Yeah.
Let's say we're gonna start shipping a lot of stuff, a lot of same lanes with. Let's just use cheap and heavy for example. So we only ship that stuff, let's say, through cheap and heavy. Now, if now let's say you like that lane and you start running just that lane. Potentially with the same people at cheap and heavy. Now, what's going to happen next? Let's say the Tyson Foods is going to say, you know what? This situation that we are going through right now as a country, as a world, as a matter of fact, is very critical and specific. So we're gonna delay our accounts payable. And again, we're not going to disappear from the face of Earth because we are just too big, and, the government will hook them up before they hook us up. We will say we're going to move accounts payable like 3 months behind. And there is nothing nobody can do about it. That very quickly can delay all the payments to 3 months behind. That can easily put smaller, weaker broker, supplier, you name it, out of business. If that money gets stuck somewhere in that whole supply chain, it doesn't have to be just a broker. It can very easily be the supplier, the shipper,
Right.
the manufacturer. Once the cash flow stops, and if you've been hauling this, one nice lane for the last 2 months, just doing good for the country and, for the people, and thinking that you're making money, you can get this wake-up call, and there is nothing else left there. That whole lane, that whole customer, or the whole broker is gone, and you just can't recover the money. So if you're booking your own freight, I would really consider different brokers. I would probably not go with the smallest ones. If I would go with small ones, I would probably be looking at the time in business.
Yeah, that's key.
Who are these people? If they sound like me from Elk Grove Village, Illinois, don't freaking do it.
Or Miami,
and
California.
unfortunately, I would suggest it's probably at this time safer to stick with big boys, including cheap and heavy, and just don't be stuck with one guy. So if you're doing the C.H. Robinson, you're doing the J.P. Hunt, you're doing Uber, you're doing whatever else comes across, Schneider, you name it. Just be and I'm just mentioning those big names. Obviously, there is a crap load of companies out there that pretty sizable companies.
Yeah.
And I would not get stuck with one lane, one person, one broker, and one customer, because it's only gonna take very, very little. Another little challenge which you may face. In that case, if you are dispatching yourself, that's your job. If somebody else is dispatching you, it's their job to really look into where you're going. Because I can guarantee you right now, some trucks will get loaded just to never get unloaded for the next couple of months, potentially. What if you picked up a load, you're going to the place, and we are on the quarantine, and we're not accepting anything? That's going to be a very tough decision to make, and this is why it's really the office team's job. But if you are one-man army, at that point it becomes your job how to solve this problem.
Not talking about that. Let's say the receiver of that warehouse is quarantined with so much panic and craziness going out there. I guess, what do you guys think? Is it time to stay home and wait for things to settle down, or stay out is the best thing? Things are happening. Truck stops closed. So much.
I know you don't have the phone. I don't want to miss this, so we get too far. Sorry.
No problem.
Scott had a couple comments, and I want to about what you were saying. And we've experienced some of these things. One was contact the bond company and pray. The other one was contact the shipper and hope that they haven't paid the broker yet. On the second one, I mean, at that point, the shipper, they're as long as their freight got delivered, they're responsible. They're not going to care too much about it. The bond company, I mean, I
can tell you about the bond company.
Yeah, go ahead, because
we dealt with multiple bond companies on multiple occasions, and did we recover some money? Absolutely. Most of the time, $75,000 bond is not a lot of money. So imagine the broker X books 100 loads, $3,000 each, and declares the bankruptcy. And it's not like we actually did put $75,000 up front for that bond. We're actually just buying the bond insurance. That's like a couple $1,000. And that $75,000, in the best case scenario, if everything else checks out in your paperwork, is gonna be split between everyone who filed on that bond. So getting, a couple $100 or $25 or whatever.
I guess that's why he said pray.
On a $3,000 load, that's
try to
not
do everything
very
you can to do your due diligence ahead of time, or have the team that you're working with. He did laugh about your when you said if a guy like this sounds like from Elk Grove Village. I say if a guy sounds like him from Bowling Green, Kentucky, you better really freak out then, because what in the world is that kind of dude doing in Kentucky? Like, now if they say, "Hi, y'all, welcome," it's all right, then you're okay. But you know what I mean. So, but no, good points. So I just didn't want to miss that. He said listening to Ralph trying to pronounce some cities is hilarious. Absolutely.
He probably got fun with that. He's like, "Where's he going?" And he's like, "What? Where's?"
Yeah,
no, I would probably not even notice.
No, he does, bro.
Mike's like, "Why is everybody laughing?"
Run, Forrest, run.
Ain't that what's it called?
Yeah. Ain't you ever been to Macedonia, Ohio? No. All right, sorry, brother. I just didn't want to miss those comments. So you were bringing up a good question. So in the chaos and the hysteria that's going around the nation right now, we do take it serious, guys. We just try to make it lighthearted because that's how we get through everything here. You know, it's a time where people are going through a lot. Our thoughts and prayers are out there with everybody across the nation, across the world. So if you are experiencing any type of illness in your family, we do take it serious. But with that being said, your question was, is this the time to stay out, or is this the time to go home?
Or pack it up? What do you boys think?
I say it depends, but in general, what tends to be in the motion
Mm-hmm.
usually stays in the motion, and what gets, what stops usually ends up being stopped.
Yeah.
So I do not think this is going to be a very easy way out. I actually think it may be pretty extensive, and it's not going to be as easy as we think, because even in the best case scenario that we all learn the lesson about China, about all this other stuff, and we say, you know what, let's at least move all that stuff in our influence zone. Let's say North America. Let's not even push, just a Mulberry, Florida. And everybody may think it's gonna be really, really good, but the way it's going, if the whole country gonna get shut down, as I would expect could happen, good luck getting that wheel spinning again. It's going to be very, very difficult, and for people that will go into the standstill, it may be nearly impossible. And if you think that, now all the factories gonna come here and we're gonna be shipping stuff and building stuff, yes, that will happen, but
Take a long time.
But it's gonna be not right away, because where all the money at, where all the people, where all the jobs. If you drive down the street, the world is not just Walmart, Publix, the Kroger, the whatever else, big boys, Google, and what else? Amazon. The world, when you drive down the street, do you see the Walmart, the Google, the Amazon? Yeah, you do, here and there. But every little small business that makes this country what it is gonna be gone. A lot of them will not reopen after this. And that could affect the economy so bad that even if we're gonna come back to something way bigger and greater, it's not gonna be that easy. It's not gonna be 2-week trick.
No, it's
and I think staying in the motion is going to put you in a better position, because you will have consistent income. I can guarantee you right now, some people are probably parking trucks just because the Bernie going to send me, what he said, $2,000?
I think they're at 1,000. They're taking bids.
Bernie said, you're going to have to ask Joe Biden not because I'm about to get done now. I got to go. I got the virus. I got to go. I got to go out of here. So, no, good points. Stay running. I mean, everybody's got a point of view on it. Obviously, it certainly depends on your personal situation. If there's personal things at home that need to be addressed, you got to do what you got to do. But, yeah, and for those that can, I would say stay out right now. Take advantage of the situation to be, in that confined environment. Make the money. The rates are good right now. Just do your due diligence. If you're taking care of yourself, or if you're partnering with a company, make sure they're watching your back, because, like Mike said, you don't want to get caught up in all this FEMA stuff. You don't want to get caught up on these loads where they don't deliver and you're being held, and who cares what they paid. I used to say that all the time when the hurricanes would come through and guys would be like, get me on that FEMA load, and I'm like, why? Well, that's $4.50 a mile. Well, that's great. Well, then when you get there, you get to line up with a bunch of trucks, and God knows when you get empty. You sit there for 2 or 3 days. I could have did $3.50 a mile, taking something, pushing a little bit. So it's one of those deals where you just got to be careful, got to watch out for yourself. But I say, if you can, business as usual. Let's not let the stress of this disrupt anything, because when the time happens, as Mike said, when it does disrupt it, when it's out of our control, You know, you'd have wished these weeks that you had your chance to run, that you were, and you're working, and because who knows? I mean, again, we don't know anything. This could be over shortly. This could last. None of us can.
And again,
and that's the also same. Based on personal experience, man. Sometimes $100 seems not very big money, right? But when you don't have the $100 and you really, really need it,
$1 million.
it is way. It looks way more and way achieved way harder than in other scenario.
What's the shirt say? I'm not gay, but $20 is $20. I saw that somewhere. Yeah, so.
Is that your high school shirt?
It's like somebody read my yearbook.
Well, and talking about that again, guys, culturally here, man, everybody at Voyager, we're all present. Obviously, we're keeping our, doing the best we can, keeping things sanitized and all that. But everybody's at their desk, working diligently, and no worries on this side. We have a controlled environment. In my opinion, I'm better served in the office than just locked in my room. So that's my personal opinion. So.
Yeah, but we're glad you're here. We're glad for everybody that's here. The teams really came together in this time. So again, we've tried to make a couple videos for our drivers and anybody that has questions, issues, anything like that. Feel free to reach out to us. We're here for you to do the best that we can.
All right. So switching gears a little bit. Just kind of like we said, we talk about different things that may go wrong during the week. Just kind of bring them out in the open so people can learn from them. Some are big, some are small. I know something that's been coming up pretty consistent now. Not sure if it's tied to what's going on out there and everything in the shippers and receivers world, but hazmat and non-hazmat. Be diligent, be aware. Keep an eye out there. I mean, Mike, I know you had some issues with that.
We've come across some things that are questionable at times, and then we come out with some things that were like literally like right in our face. And I always tell my drivers, you guys are the boots on the ground. You're the eyes and ears of the company. You're going to see everything before we do. So, guys, it don't matter if you drive for us, who you drive for, if you're watching this, if you're an owner, operator, company driver, whatever the case may be, you get your bills for a reason. They go to you for a reason because you're taking ownership and responsibility of that load and hauling of that load and transportation of that load. So in doing so, that comes with a little bit of responsibility, actually a lot of responsibility. So take the time, take a second to look at the paperwork that they gave you. This is not just against hazmat. I mean, that's one of the things we're bringing up. But literally, I've had guys, I send them a load and tell them they're going from, Texas and we're going up to Illinois, right? And then I'm telling them you're loading whatever, blah, 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 and then they pick up soda cans that are going to New York. And I'm like, they didn't look at the bill. And somehow they got loaded wrong. And I get it. Somebody in the dock made a mistake. I understand the mistake wasn't the driver's. But at the end, he could have done something about it when he had those bills in his hand. And he goes, wait a minute, I'm not supposed to be going here, and I'm not supposed to be hauling this product. So if you see on the bills, I mean, if it clearly says hazmat or sometimes UN codes, different things like that can give you a hint that possibly is worth checking into, I should say.
Yeah, just make
not
a phone
definite, but make a phone call. It should spark something that you have enough concern before you leave that facility to make sure that you and your company is protected.
And also, I think from driver's perspective, a lot of times what the driver really thinks, he thinks that, okay, if my dispatcher did send me to this facility to pick up this load, I gave them the pickup number, and we loaded something else, something different, is none of my problem. I'm just a driver. However, it's not as easy. This is exactly the reason why you sign the bills.
And I can
That's
understand
exactly
why they would think that,
why it is an actual document, by the way, federally regulated document.
Yeah, administrative bill law.
And by signing it, you pretty much accept that you reviewed it, you agree to it, and you accept the quantity and the product that you are receiving. And I know, is that fair? No. Is that messed up? Quite a bit, especially based on our experience where the shippers, the brokers, I don't know if we're just simply negligent or we're trying to cheapen out or whatever the case may be, because there are certain commodities that is kind of, as I call them, non-hazmat hazmat, where the commodity is not a hazmat, if it's in the perfect condition. Now, here where the challenge comes in. Let's say the batteries, empty, whatever, empty recycled batteries.
Mm-hmm.
Generally, the loading, bracing, and everything else is the shipper's responsibility, right? So the driver comes to the facility, he gets loaded, and even if it's a hazmat, technically it's shipper's responsibility to load and brace it properly. Now, if, let's say the driver accepts that load, because he's not trained in the hazmat, he doesn't know. This is not even a hazmat load. Now, you take this load, you sign a bill of lading, you go to the scale. Turns out some cracker on the dock loaded you with, I don't know, something wrong, improper bracing.
Crackhead.
Okay. Hey, look, man.
Cracker could be something different.
You'll be surprised.
I mean, he could be a crackhead cracker, but I was, yeah.
That's the same thing to me. Okay. Anyway, so you pick up that load, you sign that bill of lading. Now you are on your way. You get pulled over in the scale. We open up the trailer doors to inspect the product because we know if that's recycled batteries and if it's not loaded properly, we're gonna pop you for it. Now, you can tell them all your life story, how it's not your fault, how you're not even a hazmat driver, and how it is shipper's responsibility to do it. But now, this is the problem. You accepted the load. And if you hauling that load, now you just turned into the driver who hauls the hazmat freight knowingly about it. The whole trip will be reclassified as a hazmat. You will get charged for pulling a hazmat load while not hazmat certified. Same goes to the company. And man, that's a big, big deal. And I personally went through this quite bad. And it is not a good experience. You pretty much, you have the rights. Yeah, you can say, you know what, I'm gonna take everybody to court. Well, I don't know how much money and time you have, but I have a business to run. And it's not always as pretty as just, I'm gonna take you to court. And the system is against you because the only thing that you can win, maybe in civil if you attack the shipper or for improper loading, but if you're gonna go against the DOT for just to take that violation off, that's mission impossible because I already know the answer. The answer is going to be, at the time when this load was found improperly braced and loaded, you were in violation of hauling the hazmat load. And that will stay. And that's it. And nobody cares that you're not certified. Nobody cares that people lie to you. So the due diligence is very important. I'm done.
Okay, I'm gonna get that soapbox away.
You guys, did you get all that?
No, that's good. It's good stuff. It's real stuff.
I went through hell in this situation.
And again, we're just trying to share all this kind of all these experiences that happen. And sometimes it could seem so small and end up being such a big problem. I mean, even when you're there, if it's the lumper service that's loading you and the guy made the mistake and he's just praying that you just pull off the dock because as soon as you do that, he just handed you the problem. So it's just about being aware, being diligent, double checking.
They just want to move their freight, man.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like they're not worried about what kind of certification you have.
And you know what?
Most of the time, we will. If you push back, we will even start giving you the paperwork saying, "Hey, look, this class is not really hazmat unless a gazillion other options." And then one of those gazillion options happens to happen.
And you're
hauling a hazmat.
Yeah.
So just
so
do your homework.
Again, it's one of those deals where like if it hasn't happened to you, you think it's not that big of a deal. It's never going to happen to me. But then when it does, Perfect example. Preaching from experience over there. So not a good time to participate in that. That wasn't a pretty thing to see. And again, it wasn't like somebody was being malicious or trying to do something wrong. It just boom, it happened. You know what I mean? And that's trucking. So, again, that's why we share with you guys. Read these bills. You're taking it. You're accepting responsibility for it. See what it says. You see a UN code, check it first. You see the word hazmat all over it, just ask and get some documentation. Talk to your safety department. Don't just hop in the truck and boom, like I have no responsibility because it
remember,
will bite you. It will bite you.
You are not just a driver. And if you run into the trouble, good luck explaining that you're just a driver.
Yeah. Absolutely. So, I didn't see too many questions come up. It's bad to have a driver this week twice. Yeah, mentioning that. But I mean, those are the things we have to check. We have to do the best that we can. What's up, brother? Appreciate you watching. Appreciate all you guys watching. The report. Appreciate the support, the questions, the comments. I know we want to give a shout out here. Do we have anything else before we do that?
No, I think we're pretty much.
Mike, you got anything before we?
Ezekiel.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna say before we get that shot, do you have anything else? I didn't want. Oh, okay. So hey guys, one of our own is down right now. I don't know if he's watching or not. If he's not, perhaps Jeremy's watching. But we've had him on the show before. Junior Ezekiel. He's not doing well. He had to go to the doctor. So we are just want you to let you know, brother. We love you. We hope you're doing well. We hope everything's going to be okay and you can bounce back. Your family's in our thoughts and our prayers. If you need anything, please let us know. But for those that are watching, just keep Ezekiel and his family in your thoughts and prayers. We'd greatly appreciate it. We hate to see anybody going through anything, but certainly hate to see one of our own. So we wanted to give you a shout out, brother. Again, appreciate all that you do, and hope you feel better soon. And back on the road doing your thing. So
yes, sir.
Anybody got anything else?
I think that's it for this one.
All right, guys. As always, thanks for tuning in to the Super Trucker Podcast. We will continue to come live as long as we can. Hopefully Mike doesn't test positive. We should be good. So thanks, guys. Appreciate you watching.